All right. All right. So today we have Manny, barber Manny fades. So let's kick it off, bro. So what essentially got you into barbering?
What's up? What's up? So, honestly, so it's just like growing up, we always had to work. My dad, just I had to start working at a real young age, and he did landscaping. So his whole dream was to build his whole landscaping business, and then eventually he was going to pass it down to me, and then I was
Right.
going to just run with it. So I started like mowing lawns. At first, it was just like houses. I was in fourth grade, so I was in fourth grade, and I just would go to work with them every weekend. And then it went from the weekends to then every summer. And then the summers, I just remember it was the summertime, and during the weekends when it was like just weekends, it was cool, but it was like I never really liked it. But then when
Right.
it got to the summer, now it wasn't for his little account or his little business. Now I was doing it for the guy he worked for.
Right.
And at that point, we're doing parks. Like we're not doing houses.
Like it's a
Yeah,
full on.
we're doing parks. So I remember I'm in elementary, and he just hopped me on a lawnmower, the tractor ones, not even that steering wheel, like two levers. And I remember I was just like, dude, like, what am I doing? So I'm just watching him, and I just remember it was hot. And all I kept telling myself, like, dude, I need to do something. Like, I can't do this forever. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
at a young age, like, I just remember I was like, I'm not doing this forever. Like,
No, I feel that.
I
Bro.
can't. And that was just, it was cool always having money in my pocket, because I mean, who doesn't like money? You know what I mean?
No,
But,
you're not wrong, bro.
yeah, so it was just like at a young age, I learned about money. My dad taught me that, and I just kept trying to find my way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I was looking for my job without knowing job.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just looking for kind of like my way, my purpose of making money, and it took me a long time. And then just my dad would cut my hair, and then from there on, just one time, he didn't have time to cut my hair, so I just cut my hair, and it didn't come out bad, but I messed up because when I wanted to go touch it up again, I left a long patch on the front and a long patch on the side.
That's how it all starts, though, right?
Yeah, so I went on with the sides, and I forgot to change the guard, and I just buzzed down the middle with the same. So I cut my hair for nothing that time because I had to go all one number all around, but it didn't bug me. When I came back, I ended up going to Mexico. Literally right after that same weekend, I went to Mexico, so that's why I didn't mind. And it was Christmas vacation, so we were in Mexico. When I came back 2 weeks later, I was like, "Well, I'm ready for a haircut again." And at that point, I just kept cutting my hair, and then I'd get bored, cut my hair every week, every 2 weeks,
And from there, it just took off.
Yeah, I started getting good at it, and it went from like friends making fun of me in school to it was like freshman year. I was like 15 years old, so it went from like friends making fun of me to then just next thing you know, they were just asking me for haircuts. Yeah, and that's kind of like what just started it. That's just what did it all.
Yeah. So you were that barber in high school.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's dope.
Just the fact that like my dad kept trying to like, I guess he was trying to just help me, so I wasn't lazy. So I wasn't at the house just hanging.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once he saw me that I was like cutting hair and like I was consistent with it, he didn't even ask me to go work with him.
Oh wow! So he pretty much gave you the torch and like said, you know what? I think you're good. Just,
yeah, he just pretty much didn't want me.
Yeah,
he didn't want me in the streets, and he didn't want me being lazy. So then once he saw that little, I had that drive, I had that little push. He just gave me freedom, and he's like, "Hey, you do it."
Yeah,
good.
That's cool because not only did that give you the reassurance that you needed for yourself to like, okay, my dad trusts me. That's cool. Now I got to go full force, not let him down, but also myself.
Yeah, And it was like honestly working with him in landscaping. Like there's a lot of stuff that happens growing up that like kind of just gets planted in you, and just like whether it's work skill, whether it's like mind skill, it's just little stuff gets planted in you without even knowing, and like that just gave me the drive, and I knew what hard work was.
Right.
So like when crazy long hours of cutting hair would come up, like it didn't seem like work to me. Like it was just like I'm like, I've been doing this, like,
dude. That I can relate to that because I'm sure you can like what's it called agree with me when it's like I'd really be working long hours here than what I was doing before.
Oh yeah
100%. So it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, no And like when I fresh out of high school, it was like, but I went through like a little slump where I was like, well, what am I doing? Like I'm not doing anything. I have friends that are starting trade jobs. I have friends that are going to college. I have friends that were doing stuff.
Right,
I
right.
had side jobs, but I was always just cutting hair.
Hmm.
And it was like my side jobs wasn't enough to like make me feel like,
Right, fulfilled.
yeah, fulfilled. Yeah.
Right, right.
And at this time, in this day and age, like at that day and age, like yo, I was 18 years old. I'm 33 now. So it's like, bro, barbering wasn't big.
No,
Like
bro.
if I told anyone like I wanted to be a barber, like if unless it was my friends, but like older people, if I told them I want to be a barber, they'd be like, hey, like
Are you sure?
yeah, like even my dad was like, Mijo, get into computers, get into something.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like it's not that I'm dumb, but it's like I'm not tech savvy at all.
Right.
I could barely handle my own phone. So
Yeah.
it's like for me to go and like do a computer, like I'm like, hey, like I don't know what I did, man.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, but you know what's funny though is like I feel like we have similar like origin stories when it comes to barbering because I started very similarly when it comes to like cutting hair. Like I knew I wanted to cut hair, but I kept on being like very prideful. Like I don't know. I kept on fucking around. You know, especially after high school. Like after high school, all I really did was just like chill.
yeah, and
You know?
I think honestly with me it was just more like I didn't see the picture, I didn't see the vision, you know?
Right. Right.
So it was just like, and it's not like my dad was downplaying barbering, but it was just
No.
like, he was like shoot a little higher, shoot a little higher.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was like it wasn't common.
Well, dude, nowadays, bro, you can make good money with barbering.
Oh yeah, but
You know,
they
back
they
then,
weren't touching
no,
numbers like this.
no, hell no.
They were not touching numbers.
So, like,
this.
I mean, I'm sure you could agree with me. Like, I think now in 2025, well, not even 2025, I feel like 2020, bro, it is the best time to be a barber, bro, if I'm being honest with you.
Honestly, if you were able to start before 2020 to where the ball was rolling by 2020, that's when like, 'cause,
Okay.
like now it's like kind of, it's almost watered down.
Yeah. It's kind of like how the Cosmos,
Yeah.
like every girl wanted to be a hairstylist.
Yeah.
And now it's the reverse. And now everybody wants to be a barber now. But to me, I find it better that way because now it separates the quality from the people that just don't care.
Well, not only that,
Right.
it just makes it for us. Like I'll tell my barbers, the one that are fresh out, I'm like, just give it some time, bro. I was like, the ones that aren't gonna make it are gonna fall off. So just give it some time.
Oh,
And
100%.
it's not like I'm preying on anyone's downfall.
No. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of it.
It's like honestly, I remember because I was in just dumb stuff when I was even in I didn't even go to barber college. I went to Cosmo first.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I went to Cosmo first. I was just in a bad place in life, man. I was partying, drinking, smoking. It's just I didn't have my priorities set.
Right.
I was just living in the moment, living in that, and I didn't really care too much about anything else other than just having fun.
Yeah.
So I got really lost for a bit.
Mhm.
And
That gave me chills, bro, because I have like I can relate to that, and I'm a big person when it comes to relating because I'm on the same frequency on when it comes to those type of things. Like all I cared about was just smoking weed.
yeah,
That's all I cared about, smoking weed and just chilling.
Yeah.
All my money would go to weed. So when you said all you want to do is have fun, that was literally me too. And like at some point you have to, it gives like what are you gonna do? You know?
it gets boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like another thing going off topic again, but
No, it's cool.
One thing I tell people is like, especially my young barbers, I'm like, dude, right now, everyone's gonna like admire you. And it's gonna be like, everyone's gonna have you appear because you're so young and you're doing everything. And they're like, hey man, good job. Hey, congrats. The congratulation feels amazing. I'm like, the thing that no one tells you and no one prepares you for is that there's a point when they're like, hey, congratulations. Or like, hey, even like, hey, you're shooting too high. Like, relax, you have time. Like, pretty much they water it down. Like, hey, you
Yeah.
have time.
Yeah. Like,
There's plenty of time. No one tells you that there's a point when it goes from congratulations and like slow down, you have time to like the next day they're like, hey, what are you doing? Like,
I thought you were.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, and if you let them, that's what happened to me, to be honest with you. Like, I had more potential. I should have been higher than I am now, to be honest with you. I'm not going to say I have my success doesn't mean nothing.
Right.
Because as far as I came in life, it's amazing. It's
100%.
It's
God. Yeah.
the blessing
Yeah.
that God gave me, and just like the transformation He did within me, like I can't take it away. I can't take it away.
100%.
So thank God for everything that He's done to transform me. But if I wouldn't have stopped myself, if I wouldn't have gotten in the way, who knows where I would have been.
I know,
now. Who knows where I would have been.
and to add to that, man, honestly, like you need to understand too that you can always pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
And that's for anyone listening. Like,
Oh, yeah, no,
like you can always pick up where you
It's
left
never
off.
too late.
It's never too late.
It's never too late.
Never too late. So I always tell like younger barbers too, where it's like, dude, like you have to realize that yes, you have time, but once you let that foot off the gas, a weird phenomenon happens, bro, where it's like, oh shit, I think I should have never done that, you know, because I was in the same boat that you're in, you know, where I should have been higher. I should have been this, but you can't think that way because dude, that hurts, bro.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, bro. And like
That hurts, bro.
and it's crazy too, because like the thing, like I feel like just a lot of people look at me like I'm just like real confident.
Right.
I'm real sure of myself. I just got my stuff together, you know.
Right.
And I'm like a lot of things that people don't know, and like I would beat myself up for a long time about it, like because I'm like now I'm a father of five. Me and my wife, I'm a father of five. I'm the only one working. You know, I handle everything out of the house. My wife handles everything with the kids and everything, and I still help as much as I can. You know, I still help out.
100%.
So it's like I don't just look at it like that's your job, because it's not.
No, it's a team effort.
Yeah, it really is.
When it comes to being a relationship, especially running a business, it's not hard. I mean, it's not hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Because I realized that it's more so not a balance, but it's a rhythm. And once your rhythm gets messed up, you have to recalibrate it. You have to do all these things to kind of get back into it. And bro, that's why it's important to, like, once you have a rhythm, don't stop.
Yeah.
You know, and I definitely feel like you have that rhythm now, like going into the shop and then leading barbers, having a family, like that's never gonna go away.
Yeah, no.
You know, that's never gonna go away. You know, so big props on raising a family, running a business, especially leading a business and leading a family, dude. That's probably one of the hardest jobs a man can do.
Yeah.
Because no one is there to clap for you.
Yeah, no.
Don't expect that, bro.
Nah, for
like
sure.
Don't expect that. At the end of the day, bro, like you have your people, and that's all that really matters. But at the end of the day, don't expect the outer people to kind of oh, congrats, bro. Yeah, you did it, man. Like, no, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. You know, I mean, I feel like the world would be a bit of a better place if people were to do that. But once you find that crowd where it's like, okay, I can grow with these people, stay there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of barbers, especially the younger guys, they don't want to leave the shop because, oh, it's busy here. I can't leave, bro. I'm like, well, you can uproot and take clients with you. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you built a shop based around that, right? Where you want all your barbers to grow, not just yourself.
I get more excited when like I was just talking to one. I literally was talking to I have a barber in high school right now. I was literally just talking about this like last week, if not 2 weeks ago. But we went to lunch, and I was like, I get more excited when you get a new client compared to when I get a new client. And I'm like, I want you to grow because I'm already growing. I'm already like, I haven't hit my peak, you know. But it's like I'm already my wheels are churning. They're good. It's like I don't need no. I'm already established, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So I get more excited when my barber that needs it builds a client.
Yeah. Because then that's better for the brand, better for his brand.
Yeah.
And I mean, and me being a shop owner too, like bro, it's gone to the point where like I've built a website and I have everybody on a booking app here. I provide all that here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's gone to the point where I'm not even on the website. I'm not on the website. I'm not on that booking app because why? How you said, we're established.
Yeah.
I'd rather see my barbers win. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we all win. They win, we win, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Right. So on the side, bro, I'm there as the owner, but to find me and book me, you can't find me on the side. It's all my barbers, bro. I want them to reap those benefits, and this is another reason why I wanted to have you on the pod, because I definitely feel like you have a story to share, and I'm sure you've seen what social media can do, right? Where it can do good and bad, right? Or like, for example, like this will definitely clear up like all like, I'm not saying you have haters or anything, but people will hear something for somebody and then they'll slap that onto you without even getting to know you. Yeah. So this is why I definitely feel like you being on the podcast is definitely going to be great for the brand and for yourself too. You know, so as far as like your shop, how did the fade room come about? Like what made you call it the fade room? And then,
well, it was like before even once it started coming about, like, hey, I think I'm ready, because that was always the main goal.
Because you were at another shop prior, right?
Yeah, I was bouncing around for a bit, and the last shop I was at, I told myself before I even joined that shop, I was like, I had already jumped around at like 3 or 4 shops. I jumped around 3 or 4 shops in a span of like 6 years, something like that.
Okay.
So and I told myself, I was like, I'm not leaving this shop until I
You
opened
got
my
the
shop.
yeah,
Yeah, I was like,
or you get the most out of it.
no, not even then. I was like, until I get my spot, I'm not leaving this spot.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what I told myself. I was like, I'm tired of jumping. I'm tired of rebuilding. So I was like, I'm not leaving here until I finish. And when it came up a time to even have that conversation, me and my wife like, hey, I think I'm ready now.
Mm-hmm.
I started applying to different spots, trying to get the lease, and I applied to probably close to 12 spots, bro. And I think only 3 spots reached out to me, and all of them were like, "Hey, we don't want to shop here." And this is where new shops are popping up all the time. So I'm like not understanding why. I'm like, I have the money, I have the renters, because I had my house, so that's why I was like, I have history for payments, So it was like I don't understand why it's not happening for me. And it started getting to a point where I was like, dude, am I messing up? Like, what's wrong?
Like, should I have not put this out there? Like,
Pretty much, yeah.
right,
And
right.
so I already had a list with names. Me and my wife, we had just kind of gone through just a dream, Like
Mm-hmm.
if I were to do it, these are the names I'd like. So I already had a list of names, and I was kind of getting discouraged. Like just the momentum was getting out, going away, And I was like, dude, like where am I messing up? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So then I started reaching out to shops, like, hey, are you trying to sell your shop? Hey, are you trying to sell your
Oh,
shop?
really?
Yeah, I started reaching out to shops, and I reached out to this shop, and I was like, hey man, I was like, let me buy your shop off you. Like, are you selling? And I didn't word it like that, but I was like,
Well, more
if you,
professionally.
yeah, if you or anyone if you've heard of any, let me know. And he actually replies and he goes, hey, I actually was thinking about, but it didn't happen. So I kind of just took it off. So but he's like, but if the right price comes up, and then yeah, we just started talking, going back and forth, just negotiating. And I don't know what it was, man, because I'm very ambitious, and I'm very like, when I say yeah, just
When you say your mind is something, you
yeah,
want to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll make it happen,
Right. Right.
And it's like, I don't know, because I think it's a God given gift. Because I think there's a difference between being stubborn. Because I'm good enough to realize, like, hey, like it's not happening. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
pushing.
like you're not gonna be like what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Like you're not gonna be like sad that this doesn't happen, but at the same time, like you're gonna do everything you can
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like I get stubborn for the right things. And it's like, don't get me wrong. At the same time, like there are lessons that you need to be learned. So I feel like that could still be God given as well. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so I don't know what it was, man. But like when me and him started talking, I was like, that's gonna be my shop. Like that's my shop. Like I just started looking at it like that. Like that's my shop already. And I'll drive by. I'd have to drive that way to go back home.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
you just
So
like
every time, every day I drove by, and I was just looking at it, and I'm like, that's gonna be my shop. That's gonna be my shop. And then yeah, sure enough, everything gets accepted. It starts happening that it's gonna go under my name and everything. And I'm like, dude, I don't have a name. And I was talking to my wife. I was like, dude, I don't have a name.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, I think she was actually the one that brought it up. And she goes, you need to figure out your name already. Like, you need to figure out your shop name. And I was like, I wanted to stick away from the whole Manny's Barbershop,
Yeah,
Manny's Barbershop,
yeah.
or even just like last name Barbershop. I didn't want that. And I was like, I wanted it to mean something. You know what I mean? And it was like, I found the list again, and it is like from months before, almost a year before. And I was like, dude, I had that paper with all the names.
Let's look it up.
And I looked for it and I found it, and I was like, dude, and I showed her the list, and I even sent it to my wife. I even sent it to my sister. So I was like, dude, what do you think? And they were looking over at the list, and my wife was the one. I was like, I like the fade room. My sister's like, yeah, I like the fade room too. And I was like, I kind of let them choose it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what's the fade room then? And I just feel like it just went too, because that's what my upbringing in barbering, that's what it was, Manny Fresh Fade. That's what everyone knew me as.
I remember that in school.
Yeah, that's what everyone knew me as, Manny Fresh Fade. If you want to call me Manny, they would call me Fresh Fade, or just Fresh. So it was just like, that's what everyone knew me like. Oh, that's Manny Fresh Fade right there. So it was just like, it was cool, and it was just like, I felt like there was still enough to where it wasn't my name, but there was still enough of me in the name. And that's just kind of like what sealed it for me. I was like, Manny Fresh Fade opened up the fade room,
Let's do it.
Like,
Let's do it. It's crazy because like I can relate to that because when I opened up this place, my lady was the one that actually found this place. for me because I was trying to get out of a bad situation because I told you I was in a private suite. And I was trying to get out of a situation, and my time was literally like ticking, bro. Like I had to get out. So I get just like you, bro. I applied to a handful of places, and this place called me back, and I looked at it. At first, I pulled up to the shop, and I was like, I don't know, like it looks small, and I went inside, and dude, I fell in love with it. Like everything was pretty much ready to go. All I had to do was just plug and play.
Yeah.
You know, so and just
Is
like
that your style? Is that your style?
yeah, is that my style too? And just like you, bro, I had a list of names, you know, and me and my lady were going back and forth. I sent it to my brothers, some friends, and each one came back with concept, and that's how concept was born. And the reason why I called it concept was because the beginning of what I think is the future of barbering is barber suites. I mean, I'm not sure if you feel, how do you feel about barber suites? I guess I should ask.
To me, it's cool, man. Like I feel like that's something once you're established, you know, once you got something going on, I feel like yeah, it'd be cool for every barber to go and get their little suite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know how.
I feel like it's good, bro, because it's like you need to grow into that suite though first. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because if you're a barber fresh out of school, well, it depends. Because it's like there could be some barbers that like when I was teaching those barbers that you could tell which ones had been doing and which ones were stepping in fresh. So if you're a barber that like you already got it popping in school, you already been having it, you already have your name established, you might be able to go straight into a suite, and that's a blessing.
That's a blessing.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Because to be able to do that is like you could fully adapt. I mean, not adapt. You can fully change everything to your own liking. You don't have to adapt.
Yeah.
Shop.
Yeah. 100%.
You don't have to adapt to different personalities. And it's like me myself, I can't see myself in a suite because it was like I've worked in shops where it was like I was the only one in there pretty much. So it was like there was other barbers, but it was like I was pretty much in there by myself most of the time.
Right.
I was the one with the most clientele. So it's like it was cool, but it was like sometimes I'm like I just want more people in there with.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another reason why I wanted to open up a shop too, was because I wanted community.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted a community. I wanted a brand, and I think going it by myself, I felt like no matter how much I looked at it and no matter how much I ignored it, I knew I wanted to be at a shop.
Yeah.
But I kept on like, nah, you know, being stubborn and like, nah, I want to be by myself. But I definitely feel like once you have community and once you have people around you, that's how you're able to go far, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like what a lot of people don't talk about, and it's like it's honestly something really big, especially like just we grew up as men, like don't talk, like just keep everything down, like
bro.
No matter what's going on, keep it down. And like, don't get me wrong, I relate that to the shop because it's like once you come in, your personal life stays out of there. But it's like a lot of like one thing that a lot of people don't know about me. I've never said it to like just really. I don't tell people a lot, but it's like I've suffered with depression pretty bad. So it's like that was another thing that stunted my growth. The fact that like I'm very goal oriented, and once I stop hitting my goals, it's like I get in a funk mentally, and it's like I my mind is what helps me achieve these goals and create these goals. But I'll turn into my own worst enemy, where it's like,
oh, dude,
I'll go into a straight fall where it's like you can't pull me out.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like that's purpose, bro.
Yeah,
us as men, we need a purpose. We need something to aim at, because if we don't, we fall into that funk. We fall into ourselves. We end up being our own worst enemy, and that's a lot of men have a hard time speaking up.
Oh yeah,
and believe it or not, bro, a lot of men actually talk to their barbers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a huge step forward, especially for men, because how I was saying earlier, men don't like to talk, because and that goes full circle to what you were saying in the beginning, where it's like a programming that we had instilled in us when we were kids. You know. So
it's like, that's why me personally, like, as much as they need me, I need them.
Oh, dude.
So it's like, that's why, like, the fade room is the fade room, but I'm not the fade room. It's like my clients and my friends and my family will see the fade room and they'll be like, that's Manny. If My barber next to me, his clients, his friends, his family, like that's them.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone is a reflection of the fade room
Oh yeah, bro.
compared to each one of their families, each one of their friends, each one of their clients. So that's why like, the fade room's not just me.
Mm-mm.
The fade room's everything, and that's why like the fade room, like we have to be together in order for it to be the fade room, and that's why I say like I need them just as much as they
Yeah,
need
no,
me.
same here, bro. Like,
Yeah,
like
and it's like they help me more than they realize because it's like my family helps me a lot because my wife like she helps me, bro. She helps me more than anyone else
same here,
does.
bro. Same here, because I have a family too. I have two beautiful girls, and then my lady. And without my girlfriend, bro, I don't know where I would be, because
Yeah,
she's a good a good partner to me, and also a good mother to my kids.
yeah,
You know, and that's a blessing. You know, that a lot of people don't talk about. You know, because if you really put it into perspective, if you didn't have a person like that, imagine how chaotic your life would be,
yeah.
dude. Like, you know, raising kids is not easy, bro. And then
Not only that, like you could go crazy with just especially like just having so much ambition. You could go crazy. You could go crazy, bro. And it's like my
yeah,
wife literally be like, "Hey, baby step it. Like just relax, baby step it."
dude, I'd be telling my girlfriend like some crazy shit. Like,
Yeah,
I'll be like, I'll be worrying about the dumbest things, bro. Like I'm putting this out there because I'm human, and I'll worry about how many followers I have sometimes, or why does this person have more followers? And my girlfriend's like, why are you worrying about those things?
yeah,
Like, you have enough. Like
yeah,
you have more than enough. You, like, at the end of the day, you can't serve
yeah,
however followers that you have, like, work, or can you? Like, you can't serve 40,000 people. Like, there's no way. Like,
mm,
you have more than enough. Like, why are you worrying about that? You should be worrying about the next step instead of this. Like, stop it.
mm,
You know, like I suffer from being very addicted to social media. Like, I'm gotten better with it, but I've gotten real tied to my phone. Like, I have to be constantly checking my numbers, and that's not a good place to be at, bro.
yeah,
You know, it ties into the whole depression thing, how you were saying
yeah,
earlier, bro. It really does fuck with you if you let it.
yeah,
And there's times where I'll let it fuck with me, and I'm like, fuck, like I should be farther. I why it's like, no, Pac, stop. Like, this isn't for you. God has a reason why you are where you are. Just lean on that and just trust that.
yeah.
Like stop. You know.
I was lucky, bro, because it's like when I was growing my Instagram, I was the first one in my shop, the shop I worked at. I was the first one to do it. So it was like I was like, dude, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give this a shot because my whole thing was I was like, I want to be booked out. Like I want to be booked. I don't care about the Instagram fame. I didn't care about it. I was like, I'm not trying to do tours. I'm not trying to go to seminars. I'm not trying to drop products. I was like,
Be booked out.
I just want to be booked out. I just want to take care of my family, you know?
Yeah,
So it was like,
that's clear. That's honestly a clear goal.
yeah, and I was like, dude, I was building it. My Instagram was it was rolling, it was blowing up. So it was like at that point, like I was like, I hit right under 20,000 followers, and it was like I went from like being stuck at 1,000 for like years, like just 1,000,
Yeah.
1,200, just back and forth for years, and then I got up to right under 20,000, and I was falling into that cycle you're talking about, where I was like all the time just
Yeah. Dude,
and then like making videos and like I don't know how you do it, but I would record and after work I would just edit.
mhm.
So every day I'm away from my family at work, and then every day I'm away from my family at home because now I'm stuck on my phone.
Yeah,
So it was like I didn't dedicate a whole time to
just editing.
yeah. I was like no. Once I got time, I'm doing it. So then I remember I was like one time I was just like dude like I'm already booked. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And it was like, don't get me wrong. I even now looking back, I was like, I could have took it way farther, and I know I could have. It's like, but I didn't have a goal. You have a goal. I mean, I did have a goal, you know,
Right.
but I didn't have a goal for social media.
Right.
I was just like, I'm just trying to be booked. I just want to be, you know, like.
Right.
And then once I got it, I was like, I just stepped back, and I was like, nah.
I
Like,
think this is it.
yeah,
I think this is what I want to do. And then
yeah,
that's cool because you knew enough to let it not let it go, but kind of like give yourself that inner peace. Because a
yeah,
lot of people are like, especially myself, I'll still go back and forth with myself, like, nah, Pac, you have to post every day. And like posting every day is a good thing, but it could also if you're posting just because it can definitely fuck with your mental health, bro.
yeah.
You know,
And
and
it's like I don't like editing videos, bro. I don't.
you
I
know what I mean?
really don't like editing videos. And it's like I got to the point where I could edit them pretty fast, bro.
Yeah.
Like I was like at one point, like right now I'm super rusty. Don't get me wrong, super rusty.
It's been a while.
Yeah. But there was at one point where I was like, I had like 10, 15 minutes in between a client, and I edited like 3 videos.
Okay.
And it was like, so I was getting pretty quick with it. And it was like, I didn't have to like see like, okay, wait, slow this down. Let me see right here.
Mhm.
Like I was like, boom, 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 boom. Like, all right, this one's done.
Yeah.
Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. All right, this one's done. And I
No,
was like, I was knocking them out quick. And it was like, and they were all blowing up.
that's good, bro.
Yeah.
That's good.
And it was like, I was like, I don't like doing this. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, like, I do like editing. It's just for me, it's just finding the time and the flow to
Mhm.
actually do it. Because I don't mind sitting at a sitting down for hours on end and editing, but like that, again, how you were
Yeah.
saying that just takes away from your family.
And it's like everyone's on a different chapter, bro.
Yeah,
You can't compare someone's highlight reel to someone's opening credits. You know what I mean?
you're not wrong.
You
bro.
can't, because it's like, bro, like I'm in a totally different chapter right now. Right now, I like taking Saturdays off during softball season and watching my girls play.
That's awesome, bro.
I'm there to every game. I don't miss a game, and it's like,
And showing up is
I
big.
try to be there for every practice, but I can't. So I'm trying to.
Make
But
up for it at the
everything I
big
can,
moment.
everything I can. If I can be there at practice, I'll be there.
Mhm.
And then but I don't miss a game. I don't miss a game. I'll be there. And it's like right now, like my goals aren't really barber related right now. They don't get me wrong, they're there, but it's like you get to a point where they're in the back burner. They're not a main priority no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like I got
especially with
my
kids and
my
stuff.
barber stuff is more back burner right now. Right now, my family is my full. Because that's why I used to tell my wife, I'm like, bro, I'd go in at 6 in the morning, and there was times when I got outside 10, almost 12 in the afternoon. So and at night, it's not even afternoon.
Yeah, it's like,
So it was like, bro, I was putting in crazy hours, and like anyone that knows me, I went through hell and back when it came to like pushing my body to those hours. It's like,
well, and for me, because I can relate to that too, because I'm sure you can relate on my thought process because I've done that before too. Like I can work. I was able to work. I think one year for Christmas, I went in at 4 a.m. and didn't get off until like 1 a.m. bro. And to me, it's like, well, if I'm able to do this at a job that's hard labor, why can't I do it here? This is just standing and just cutting it. Yeah, I was tore up at the end of the day, but it was worth it because it pushed me forward. I was able to get my kids, you know, the gifts and stuff like that, and like
what I would always tell my wife is like, I'm giving away my time right now, my family time. I'm giving it away so I could buy it back later. And that's what I would tell her. I was like, I'm giving up the things that I want, the things that the time I want to spend with them. I was like, because at the end of the day, I had to do it. Because I was like, I was the only one working. We had visions, we had dreams.
mhm.
So it was like, I'm giving away my time right now. That way she could have time with them right now. So I was trading my time for her time. So I was like, you're going to give them all your time because I'm taking all my time away. But I was like, my goal is to eventually later on be able to come back and buy my time back.
Yeah.
And not by buying them gifts, but being able to be
there
like,
present, like
yeah, being like,
yeah.
I'm going to take this week off.
But no, yeah, I do agree with you on the sorry about the interruption, but I do agree with you on the whole buying your time back because that's why you work hard now to buy it back later. And I always tell my girlfriend too, like right now, like the same thing. Like right now, I'm working all these hours, giving my time away, trying to build the brand, trying to build an online presence. Like that's the goal, is to build an online presence, to work less and I definitely want to grow more from behind the chair.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I have a voice, and I keep on thinking about it, bro. I don't know what it is. I feel like God has like his hand on me when it comes to those type of things, where it's like, bro, you have a voice. Why don't you use it? Like you want to motivate others, say something. Like, you know, like that's the goal, is to work remotely, go on tour. Like I really love doing like teaching, bro. Like I really love teaching other people.
Teaching was fun.
You know,
teaching was fun. No, that's what I tell people, because they'll ask me about when I would teach. I really liked it because it was like, I loved that moment when you would see it click in their heads.
like, oh shit.
And you could really see it, like their heads were like, like their face would just, their eyes, their face, whatever it was, you could see it. So it was like I liked that. I just didn't like. I was 23 at the time.
When I met you,
Yeah, I was
okay,
23.
okay.
So it was like when I was 23 years old, they didn't look at me like I was a. And like to keep it real, like not even knocking on none of the instructors because they were in a whole different. They were in the Cosmo side, but on the barber side, that was my world.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was the most skilled, and they were treating me like I was a student. And that's when I was like, no, like you're not valuing what I'm bringing.
I guess I never asked you that. So like,
Yeah.
because there was one day where I showed up and you weren't there. Like,
Yeah.
So what happened? Like you just.
I just kept telling myself it was like at that point I was like, my wife was pregnant with my second daughter, and I was 23 years old, and I was like, dude, I was like just working myself over there because it was like I would go in at 7:45, and I would work till 4. From 4, I would get to the shop at like
whatever
4:45, and I would work till like 10, like sometimes later, and then I would go home. Oh my bad, I would go home. I'd watch like a movie sometimes, and then sometimes I'd get home and my kids were sleeping.
And you're like,
yeah, and that was a daily schedule for like a year or two, a year, something like that.
Because right after you, I remember in Barber College in Paul Mitchell, I remember right after you, they hired somebody else. She wasn't that good at teaching.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
They hired I forgot her name, but she was cool, but she wasn't at the level that when you taught. Like a lot of the stuff that you taught us, I still use to this day.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? There was this one thing that you taught with the top where you cross checked.
Yeah.
And then to this day, I still do that. It's crazy, like you know what I mean. I still do that to this day. But yeah, dude, I was always wondering because I was like, man, what? Because literally not just me, everyone in that time, like how it's like at that time, everyone was wondering, where did Manny go? And like no one gave us answers. Everyone was like, oh, well, we have this person now. But yeah, so like I guess my next question is like, what is like the biggest mistake you see barbers making right now that are trying to grow?
Right now, honestly, just a lot of them say they're giving it their all, but you see they're not. Because it's like you look back at what you did to get where you're at, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, it ain't, this ain't it, dog.
Yeah,
yeah, it's it.
Like, nah.
No.
And
that's honestly a good way to put it because I asked myself that same question too, and I'm like, because when I was back in the day trying to grow myself, I did everything I could, and to this day I still feel like I need to do everything I can.
Yeah, I got into the shop like under the table because it was like I was supposed to go into the apprentice program, and it didn't fall through with the shop, but he didn't keep me in the loop.
Right.
So I'm just waiting for months, and I'm like, hey man, like
what's going on?
Yeah, and then I'm over here. I don't want to blow him up because then he's gonna be like, oh, this kid's annoying. I was like 19 at the time, so I was like, he's just gonna be like, oh, this kid's hella annoying. So I would try to text him the least I could or call him the least I could, and he was taking forever. So then I was like, I finally get in contact, and he's like, it didn't work out with that location. I'm looking for a new one. And I'm like, bro, I've been waiting for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And
what's going on, dude?
Yeah. And I was like, it's not just a few weeks. Like, it was a few months. Like,
a few months.
Yeah. He goes, I'm working on another location. Don't worry. And at this point, I was like, bro, I already gave you like 5 months of my time. I'm not gonna give that back. Yeah, like
fuck.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not gonna do this. So that's when the next day I literally woke up and I was like, I'm gonna enroll at this Cosmo school.
Okay.
So I enrolled at this Cosmo school down the street, and then like the program was like 13 months or like I think it was 12 months, but I was just into partying and just doing. So I extended the program.
Right.
And so like a few months in, he gets in contact. He goes, hey, we're opening next month, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to school. I can't work at the shop while I'm going to school. And he goes, if you don't trip, you can still work there. So yeah, like I'm over here seeing these guys popping off and just getting all these clients, and like I would literally get to the shop like at 6 and like right after school, and then they'll be like, bro, I made like $200-300. And at that time, like, that was a lot. $15 haircuts, $200-300.
That was a lot of money.
So I was like, dude, I was like, what the heck? I was like, how? And they're like, bro, it's ridiculous. And then I get there and it's dead. So I was like, oh, bro. So it was like, that was like I had to mentally fight that every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, no, I.
So then what I did is like, I'd go there and I would get there at 6, but I'd stay there till 10. I would stay till like, just later. And then, and even if I did leave earlier, I'd make it up in the weekend. And I was going to school 5 days a week, and I was working at the shop 7 days.
Oh,
So
shit.
yeah,
That's
so
a-
I was grinding, bro. Like
yeah, no, that's that's
I
what
was
it
grinding.
takes, and that's what it takes. And the reason why I reacted that way because I was there. Like,
Yeah. And at this time, I'm still partying.
damn.
Yes, I'm still partying at this time. So it's like I'm just like going to school, going to work, and then partying. And then I remember, dude, I remember I was falling asleep on the way to parties with my friends, and I'm all knocking out in the back seats. They're like, "Hey, we're here, we're here."
Oh, for the
So I'm like,
go.
"All right, let's go." So then I'm going, and I'm staying out till like 2, 3 in the morning, you know.
Right.
And I'm going home, and I'm over here suffering at school. And then I'm over here like the only thing keeping me motivated is I'm like I'm gonna make money after this.
Yeah.
And at one point, like, bro, I was only 19, 20 years old. And even then, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I was like, I need to stop.
No.
And I was literally like, I can't stop school because I need this to get into the shop. And I was like, and I can't stop the shop because I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to.
It's the only way you.
I was like,
yeah.
pretty much like, so I was looking at partying and I was looking at the shop and I was like, dude, partying got to go. Like,
Yeah, it's the no-brainer.
so, yeah, so I was like, I stopped partying, and like at this time, like, I'm still smoking, I'm still drinking, you know, but I'm just not really going out like that. I'm not going to bars or clubs. Like I'm just like, I'll hang out like with the friends, like here and
just,
there.
Yeah, here and there.
Like
but,
keep it mellow.
but
Like
your mission was
yeah,
to grow, to be booked out, and I'm sure the mission is still the same.
yeah. And like I don't know if you remember the story, but I'll tell that story to my barbers. Like they'll be like, "How much money can you make? How much money can you make?" And I'll be like, dude, I was like, this isn't every weekend. This isn't every week.
Yeah, no.
I was like, and this is all $15 haircuts. But I was like, I think the most I hit was like $1,300 in a week.
Damn.
And I was like, that was all $15 haircuts.
It's crazy because like when I had first started working at a shop, I was charging $13 a haircut. The most I ever made in a week was $800, bro.
Yeah, see, so and you were grinding for those 800, I bet you.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
you know.
So it's like that's the most I had ever made, and like that's what really like got my dad off of me, off of like, hey, try to be some like career path, because bro, everyone thought I was selling drugs. Everyone thought I was selling drugs.
That's wild.
Yeah, so everyone was like, dude, that dude fucking sells drugs.
Just
like,
because he's he has money.
Like, yeah, so it was like, and I'll never forget, bro, because like it's $15 haircuts. So I'm getting a few 20s. I'm getting a lot of ones, a lot of 5s, and a few 10s, you know? So it's like, I'm getting a lot of like drug bills. Like,
yeah. So it's like,
I'm getting a lot of drug
people
bills.
are raising their eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like, you sure,
like,
buddy? Like,
bro, I remember one time I had a notepad and I'll count down, like, all right, haircut at this time, and how much they tip. Haircut tip. And I just had them broken down into 2 different columns. And I just had a little stacks of 20s, you know? But it filled up like my bed almost, and I had just like stacks of 20 filling up my whole bed.
So the tips, you just kind of put them away.
Yeah, and no, I had it all counted together, but I just had them separated so I could. This is how much I made, you know, and this is how much I made off that.
The off tip.
Yeah, but I had it all, and if I wanted to separate, I knew how much I had to separate.
Yeah,
and it sounds dumb, but it's like it worked in my head at the time, you know. Yeah, and
I remember I used to have stacks of like, because nowadays I don't really accept cash anymore.
Yeah, I do, but it's like I tried to deposit right away, or just,
I
try not to carry hella cash on me.
For me, if they want to pay through the app, what I'll do is I'll charge them the tax, because I have to wait a couple days for my money.
Okay.
But if they want to pay Apple Pay or Venmo, that's instant, so that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, but I do remember when I used to have cash, I filled up my, just like you, bro.
Yeah,
it was,
fat old wad.
Yeah, it was a fat old wad, and I would separate my 5s, my 1s, my 10s, and my 20s. I had a little stack of like 50s. Well, the 100s will always go to my bank no matter what.
Yeah.
100s will go to the bank, but 50s would stay with the 20s and like with the 10s, and it was a little tiny little stack. So I ended up putting those into the bank too. But for the most part, it was just stacks of 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s. And so at the point I was like, you know what? I think I need to invest this into something. And that's, believe it or not, bro, most of my tip money, I was able to get a chair and like all the stuff I needed for my private suite. Yeah, so my tip money was what paid for my private suite. And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, see, when I was making this money, I was like 19, 20 years old, bro. So I wasn't thinking like that. And like that's like I said, that's what got my dad off of like trying to redirect me.
Right.
Because he comes in and he sees me and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, my dad knows English, you know? So he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm counting my money. He goes, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm counting my money he's like, what are you doing to get this money? Is what I'm saying. And I was like, dude, this from haircuts. And he goes, you cut that much hair? And I was like, yeah. And I showed him the notepad, and he was just like,
oh, all right.
Bro, never questioned me again.
After
Never
that, and that goes full story, full circle. How we were saying, like, your dad literally gave you the reassurance that you needed, subconsciously. Like obviously, like regardless if you didn't get his blessing, you were still gonna.
That was his blessing.
That was a blessing. That subconsciously, you're like, all right, my dad I have his approval now. Let's
and it's like dads don't really like. My dad will praise me now, but it's like he's getting older, so it's like I feel like once you hit a certain age, you start like trying to do stuff you didn't do. So it's like. He'll praise me now, and but when he didn't, I remember family would tell me like, bro, your dad always says like once he started working, I never had to give him money, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy, like, you know, that was like the reassurance that he needed, you know what I mean?
Like, oh, my kid's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
my kid's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he's gonna be good.
And back to what you were saying about how like dads never really praised you as when you were younger. For whatever reason, I don't know why that happens. My dad never really praised me. There was this one time where. I got so I used to play a lot of soccer back in the day when I was in junior high, and what's it called? I remember I got the most improved defense player of the year, and that was like my first time ever getting an award because I wasn't really good at school. So like to get an award like that for me was like, oh, this is fucking dope. You know. So I remember I got home, and my dad loved soccer too, so I thought he was gonna pick me up and like feel the whole moment shit. Bro, this man looked at me. I was like, Dad, look, I got this trophy. He looked at me. He was asleep. He was asleep. He looked at me, smiled, and went back to bed. and at that moment, bro, I was like, man, fuck this. So that was my very first moment that I ever felt like my dad really didn't really like care in a sense.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older now, he tells everybody, oh, my son's charging $100 a haircut. He has a shop in LB, this and that. Like it's a whole 180 now. It's like, Dad, what was that at when I was?
I'm like, I always hear like we were visiting family in Oregon. It's my dad's brother, and we're visiting over there. And then my uncle just told me like, you want to go for a walk? And I was like, yeah. It was early in the morning, and I was drinking the coffee with him, and he goes, you want to go for a walk? I was like, yeah. And me and my uncle, we didn't really have that really bond, you know.
Right.
He's in Oregon. I'm over here in Cali.
So to you it was like, huh?
Okay. Yeah, I was like, all right, let's go. So I'm like, I'm not rude either, you know. So I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. I was like, I'll go with you, and we went. And yeah, bro, it's just. He was just telling me how proud he was of me, and he's like, your dad always talks about you, and I was like, what? Like he's like, yeah, he's like, your dad, he's always talking to us about you, how far you've came, and I was like,
all right,
my dad, like he's like, my dad, like yeah, and then I was like, you sure he's not talking about Chelly, like my sister, like she was the one that would get like the awards and everything, and I was just like super under the radar. So it was like, I was like, damn, like it was just crazy to hear that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so it's like. Not hearing it too often, you know, it's
probably a good thing.
Yeah, and I feel like that's really why I just thrive on I'm really goal oriented. You know what I mean? I feel like that's why
because you not that you chase validation or reassurance from anybody, but in a strange way, that's what keeps you grounded, right? Where like, okay, I got to get to the next thing. And right now that you said full circle to how you were saying that, you know, your barber goals are in the bottom corner, but they're still there.
Yeah.
You know, they're still there. So speaking on that, what's your next goal for like the fade room and like yourself as a barber? Like if you could touch a little bit on that.
I feel like the fade room, for the most part, like it's just cosmetic stuff that I could do to this shop, you know,
and make it look nice.
I feel like this shop, like once these guys are all established, like that's it for that one. Other than cosmetic stuff, so then it's on to something else, bro. Even if it's a smaller one, but it's like I want to do something else where it's like I want to help young barbers. You know,
that's awesome, bro. Same here.
Yeah, I want to help young barbers, and I want to help you and just like. It was crazy because, like, when I was at barber school and I was teaching, it was crazy, bro, because it was like, yeah, there was a handful of guys that were younger than me, but you don't know how many guys were older than me. And they were looking at me and they were like, dude, how old are you? And I was like, nah, I'm not going to tell you. And, like, I'm not going to tell you.
You know what's weird? Like, I remember that. In school, everyone would always ask you.
Yeah. And then, like, the older guys would tell me, like, you look older, but I know you're younger. And then like the way you present yourself, the way you are, like you seem older, but I know you're not. And I was like, Nah. Like I wouldn't tell them. I wouldn't tell them. And they would tell me like, "Come on, bro. Like, tell me how old you are. Tell me how old you are." I was like, "Nah,
Stop fun.
I'm not gonna tell you." And like, I remember my cousin did a guest artist one time. Bro, I've been hiding it for like 8 months. And my cousin in like 10 minutes goes, "Yeah, I'm 21. He's 23." And I was like, "Bro, like, yeah." And then like I remember that he said that, and like they all turned and looked at me like,
I finally found out.
and like, "You're 23," and I was like, "Yeah, bro." Like, and they're like, "I knew you were young," and I was like, "Nah, bro." Like, so it's like I want to help the young ones, bro, but I want to help the old ones that didn't, the older ones that didn't get that chance.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe they were like me and they had to take care of their family and they didn't get that shot. And there's a bunch of guys that are like that. There's a bunch of guys.
I'm actually talking to a few right now that reached out, and I applaud them for reaching out because a lot of the OGs are set in their ways, you know.
Yeah, bro, and it's like,
and to be set in your ways is one thing, but to want to get out of that way is another thing too.
And the thing is, if you're coming in right now, you have to adapt.
Oh, 100%.
You can't have your old school mentor have you wanting to come in with an old school mentality. Like, I mean, not old school mentality, but the old school ways.
Yeah.
Because it's like, bro, like times have changed, and it's like the only thing that would work for someone if I gave them my knowledge is like just grind.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't come in and do what I did to blow up right now. Like you got to find what's going on right now
for you. Yeah.
But not only that, you got to find out what's trending right now. Because what's trending when I was blowing up isn't trending now.
What was one thing that was really trending back then?
Just fades.
Fades, right?
Short fades.
So like I think now it's like scissor work and like keeping the top. Because I remember back then it was all buzz cuts.
Designs are coming back.
I've seen that.
Designs are coming back, but
big time.
They're not designs like how we were doing. It's a whole different style. Yeah. But I just recently went into a barber competition, and I haven't competed in years. But my barber, the younger one, he wanted to do it, and no one was willing to do it. He wanted to do a tag team,
right?
And I was like, you know what, bro?
Let's do it.
I'll support you. I was like, let's do it. And he kept asking me, like, what do you want to do? I was like, hey, bro, like, I'm supporting you. What do you want to do? Like,
I'll follow your lead.
Yeah, I'm like, you tell me what you want me to do, and we'll do it. Bro. Like,
that's cool that's cool of you to let him lead, because you're letting him have that time to shine. When you know, like, okay, if he wins, I'm gonna win too.
Yeah,
you know?
No, and it wasn't for my win, to be honest with you. It was just like
support.
I'm like, we didn't even place, and I wasn't hurt. And I was just trying to tell him, I was like, hey, look, bro, it happens like that sometimes.
Right.
Like sometimes it just happens. Yeah. And then I was just talking to him about it, and you could tell he was down. But like that's the whole reason I got him into the shop. Because when he talked to me, I saw a younger me and him. And the way he handled that loss was the way I would have handled that loss.
He was very like.
So that's why I was like, yeah, bro, you got this. Like you got this.
Yeah.
You'll be good.
How you were saying too, like with the whole like design thing and everything, like I do see a huge surge. And you're right, dude. Like the designs I was doing back in the day are nothing compared to like.
And like everyone uses paint, not even just enhancement paint.
No, everyone
like
uses
paint,
real like colors. And
yeah,
like that. Like that's nuts to me.
Yeah, I'm like that's what I'm like. Yeah.
Like, I think for me though, like I really like the I don't know if you know who Joshua P is, and like the UK style, like the whole scissor work, you know. I really like that kind of style with the scissor work and stuff like that. I'm more that's like one thing that I feel like if you're gonna, because I see it all the time too, like, and hear all the time too, especially on TikTok, where barbers will say like, oh, I don't like doing the texture fringe or scissor work or whatever. Mm-hmm. In my head, I'm like, well, okay, then don't post that.
Oh yeah, that's what I tell them. Like you post what you want to attract. I'm like, if you want to just do like short tight fades, like post fades, like yeah,
and that's all you're gonna get, you know. Like I'm very big on if you want a specific type of clientele, the ideal clientele is what you're gonna attract on your page.
That's like my barber Fiji, dude. That guy kills fringes. He kills them, and I'm like, dude, post them.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, bro, that's what he posts majority of. Yeah. And like, I guarantee you, when he comes in, he's doing at least 5.
At least fringes.
4 to 5.
Yeah.
4 to 5 fringes.
Yeah, he's gone really good. I've talked to him. I've talked to Fiji quite a bit. And he's really good at fringes, bro.
Yeah.
I told my bro, post that one ideal client that you want, and I promise you, that's what you're gonna attract. You're gonna get more of. And there's a high of demand for those type of things right now at this very time, especially in barbering right now. So
that's what I'm like. I do so many draw fades.
That's like your thing, right?
Yeah, I do so many draw fades and like tapers and draw fades. That's what I really, really do.
I feel like back in when I was in barber school, I feel like the hook had barely came in. Or no, what would you say? The C cup. You know how they did the whole.
Yeah, I feel like it had been out for a little bit, but yeah, it was kind of newer.
It was newer, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I remember when I brought that back to here in town, or deep around my area, everyone didn't like it.
yeah, oh yeah,
Everyone hated it,
yeah.
bro.
When I first started doing them, that was for sure like, hey, bro, erase that, and I was like,
Yeah,
bro, it looks
it
clean.
looks, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Back in the day, when I'm, we're not far. I'm 31. You're 33, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So we're from the same generation, you know. So back in the day, a mid fade wasn't what a mid fade is today.
That was like a low fade down there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now low fade now is like
And then
very tight on the side. Yeah, you know.
and then like drop fades they weren't a thing yet.
Mm-mm.
So it's like it was weird because it was like I was like, what? I was like a drop fade.
What is that?
Yeah.
What the fuck's that? Yeah, no.
And it's like, bro, I felt like being in the shop for so long because I came in at like 19, bro, 20 years old. I was in the shop. So I was like, I went from being one of the young kids where it was like everyone would look at me like, oh, this young fool, like, oh, this young kid.
Yeah,
So it's like now I'm the older guy in the shop, and they're like, oh, this guy, this old dude, and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
bro,
Unk,
like,
unk.
yeah, the unk right here, and I'm like, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just like,
yeah. Like I think the youngest barber I have at my shop, I think he's 20. So like, I'm unk here too, bro.
yeah,
So whenever they have questions, they come to me and ask me, whether it be social media and stuff like that. Like one thing I can say right now, like if you're a young barber trying to build clientele, is post 3 stories of your post 3 stories on your Instagram story, 3 haircuts daily, and I
yeah.
promise you, if and also if you were to tie that in with handing out cards, that's it's gonna be in the middle. You know what I mean?
The thing is, you have to be active in all
Mhm.
aspects, and promoting yourself. You have to be active in the shop, and you gotta be active with the clientele you already have, because it's super easy for you to just get comfortable and be like, well, I already have, that's my client, that's my client.
I'm good.
And I'm like, and it's just like sports. Like, just because you're starting right now doesn't mean the guy in fucking second string isn't working his ass off to be the starter. So just because you're the starter right now doesn't mean you're gonna be a starter
Right,
next week.
right.
So it's like just because that's your client doesn't mean that
He can
he's
go
gonna stay.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, yeah. So it's like you have to be active, keeping your clientele. You have to be active, making a clientele, and you have to be active on your social media, promoting yourself.
That was really my next question. Like, what is like one thing you can tell, like, give advice to young barbers trying to build a clientele?
Honestly, and just the strongest thing you have to have is your mind, and just you have to be strong minded. You have to just
Yeah.
go in there full speed, because it's like you have to fully understand this. Even when you're doing good, because it's just a wave. There's lows, there's highs,
Dude.
and then there's a time when it's like your lows don't even feel like like lows no more. They just your lows, you're just coasting at the top.
Yeah, bro.
You can still have a nice little drop where you're like, what the heck?
Yeah,
Like,
don't do. And I feel like I recently had gotten, because every year I'll do like an audit on myself. I'll go on my app and I'll look at clients that I don't cut anymore, stuff like that, and I'll notice it. Like, okay, where's this guy? I haven't seen this guy in so long. Like, you know, and 9 times out of 10, it's not the quality. It's just sometimes, you know, they either move away, or it's just it doesn't align on their schedule, or they can't afford it anymore. XYZ. You know,
just being in the shop so long too, it's like there's a cycle.
mhm.
There's a cycle where it's like this guy has been coming to you consistently for so long, falls off. And then when he falls off, another client comes back. And then now that guy comes, and that guy falls off, and then the old guy comes back.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's a constant cycle.
How do you feel about firing certain clients? Because I know a lot of barbers like to like think like, okay, well, every client is good money. Like, do you think
Not all money is good money. Because it's like some people really test you, bro. And some people really like, I'm like, I've always said, I'm like, I'd rather have like 20 solid clients than like 100 clients that just like don't value me.
100%, bro?
And I'm like, yeah, you might be booked out. Yeah, you might be like just super swamped. You might be making everything happen, but it's like there's a fine line. And then the next thing you know, now you're working.
Yeah.
Now you're working. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you have to go through that where it's like you have to really, in the beginning, you have to really adapt, and you have to really just focus, like just change yourself for them a little bit. You have to accept everything.
No, yeah,
You have to accept everything.
yeah. In the beginning,
Yeah, in the beginning.
yeah, the beginning. Like,
Once you're established and once you start getting
that's
the
when
ball
you can,
rolling,
yeah,
that's when you're like, okay, like I'm gonna start making my clientele now. Now you're picking your clientele.
that's awesome, bro. And
Yeah.
it's a good feeling
Yeah.
when you get there,
Yeah.
because now you can be like, oh, you know what? This client's giving me a headache. He's not. He don't show up on time, or he's always being doing the most behind the chair, XYZ. Like, now I think I can turn him away, you know. And I've had to do that a few times this year, and the clients just look at you like, oh, what? Like, hey, this is
I've let a client go and then let him come back later, and then he looks at me different when he comes back, because now he's like, now he knows, like, I gotta respect this guy.
Yeah, no, I recently had to let somebody go. This is what happened. I had to let him go because, okay, it was kind of a dumb story in my opinion. I mean, you can just like let me know, but I let him go because this is the second time he's done this to me, where I'll try and charge his card. The first time I'll let it slide. I'll give everybody a first chance, like, you know. The second time it's like, all right, bro, you know. So he comes in, he goes, here's your money, bro. But I think this is it. And I'm like, yeah, I think you're right, bro. He's like, I just gotta find a barber that understands that I sleep in sometimes. And I'm like, no, honestly, bro, good luck finding a barber like that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Good luck finding a barber like that, bro. And he goes, yeah, bro. I already have one in mind. I'm like, well, good luck, bro.
Yeah, hopefully it works.
Hopefully it works out for you. And my client heard that. He goes, was he serious? And I'm like, it sounded like he was. He was. He goes, I'd be pissed off if I were you. I'm like, honestly, bro, I'm not gonna see that guy ever again. So why even trip, you know? But yeah, you know, before this ends, I wanted to ask you, like, what is one crazy funny story you had from behind the chair that you can think of?
There was probably a story where it's like, this guy was that's when I found out that I grew up pretty quick, I guess, you know what I mean? Because it was like, I'm young. It was at the first shop I worked at, and everyone has a different idea of what, like, when you're cutting the top of their hair, everyone has a different idea. Like, I'll take off an inch.
Mm-hmm.
An inch isn't the same to everyone.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't tell people like how much you want me to cut. I'll point them at the mirror. I lift up the hair and I'm like, right here, lower, higher, right here.
Yeah.
And so I let them see it. That way they could, and that's something I've always done.
Right.
That way they could see how much I'm cutting off. So I'm cutting this dude's hair. It's the first time. And this is like the first year of me cutting hair. So I'm 19, bro. I'm still thinking like a 19-year-old. I'm very respectful, bro, but if you disrespect me, it's like, it can get bad. It can get bad.
Get bad easy.
And so I'm 19 years old, bro, and I'm cutting this dude's hair for the first time. It's a walk-in only shop. So it's busy, bro. The shop, every shop is every chair is taken. And I'm cutting this dude's hair. And he has long, like, kind of like rocker hair, dude.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little Mexican dude, but I could hear it, and I'm like, you're not from here. And then sure enough, he's from the Bay Area. So I was like, oh, he's rowdy. Yeah, and then you could just see it. He was rowdy, you know?
Yeah.
So then I started cutting dude's hair, and he's like, oh yeah, man, just hella feeling the haircut, just going on, like, just loving it. And I get to the top of his hair, and I was like, all right, bro, do the same thing. Lift the hair up, and I was like, how much? And he goes, go a little higher, go a little lower. And then he's like, right there is perfect. So I started cutting his hair. He wanted like a mohawk all the way back. So then I started cutting his hair off, and I start cutting, and I'm already pretty much done. Now I'm just like cross checking. And then he goes, and I turn him again to the mirror because I'm spinning around to work around his head. And when I point him back to the mirror, dude, he starts like hella yanking on his hair. And I was like, and he goes, I don't know, man. I think he went too short. Like, I don't know.
But
yeah, and I showed him.
Yeah.
So then I was like, what the heck? I'm just throwing off. And I'm throwing off. And I think he's messing around. And then he starts like hella pulling at his hair. And I was like, what the? Like, he's trying to make it longer. It was weird. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell? And then like, he just keeps making a big deal about it, bro. And I remember like the owner of the shop, he's cutting like kind of close to me. And then I just look at him, and he looks at me, and like what's going on? And I was like, I just made a face, and like, I don't know. And I pointed at him. Yeah, and then so he just being loud and being like, and you understand on a Friday, bro, the shops get loud.
Oh,
Shops
bro.
get loud on a Friday.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the shop could hear what he's like, how he's being overreacting, how he's overreacting, and yeah. Next thing you know, he's just like he even disrespected me, and he goes, "How long you been cutting, bro?" And at this time, it's like 6 years. He's like, "How long you been cutting?" I was like 6 years, and he goes, "Shh, you could have fooled me." And
Aha.
I was like,
Oh,
"Damn!"
yeah.
I was like,
You catch me
"Nah."
outside with
And I
that.
remember I went and I looked at him and I looked at the owner again. And I remember we told him when we first worked here, I was like, if a situation, we worked in the hood.
Right.
We worked in the hood. So
Right.
it was like a lot of rowdy clients would come in. And I'm a very respectful person,
Right. But once
but
it,
don't
yeah,
disrespect
don't
me.
cross that line.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
disrespect me. And so um yeah, I look at the owner and like I referred back to that. Like if something ever happens, what do we do? And he goes, take him to the back. And I was like, he's like, yeah, just take him in the back room, just be quiet. And I was like, all right, hell yeah. So now I know I can handle if everything ever goes south.
Right.
And yeah, I look at the owner, I look at him, and he just gives me the nod, like take him to the back.
Yeah.
So then I look at him and I was like, and I remember I was already like ready, and I was like, and I looked at the shop at the waiting area, and it was full. And I was like, bro, imagine I take this food to the back and there's kids in the shop. There's moms with their
Yeah.
kids in the shop.
You don't want to.
And I was like, imagine I get back. And I was like, not only that, like, imagine if I hurt my hand, like, fighting this dude. I was like, imagine I get dropped and I come back with a fat old eye. Like, so I was like,
It's like you thought about every.
yeah, I
every
thought about it.
possible
Yeah.
outcome. Yeah.
And I was like,
That's funny.
dude, it ain't even worth it. And I was like,
you know what? Just don't come back, bro.
yeah, and
Don't come back.
I just finished up. And then on top of that, the dude tips me $20. Yeah, he tips me $20, and then he even looked at his cousin in the waiting area. He goes, "Yeah, I canceled tonight. We're not going out." And I was like, "Dude, so this is he's just disrespecting me."
Yeah.
I finished the haircut. I take the drape off, and bro, I bump into him at the club at that night
That
at
night.
the bar. I bumped into
Like,
him
hey,
at
nice
the bar,
haircut, bro.
and no, and he was with girls, and like they were all like pointing at his hair, but it was like. They were like complimenting. You could see it. Like they weren't making fun of it. Like they were just like, and he was feeling it at the bar. He was feeling it. Like
So you're just being a dick for no
yeah,
reason.
yeah.
What
And that's
the
when I was like, bro,
fuck,
yeah. So it's just like that's my funny story. But that's what helped me see. I was like, dude, I was for being that age, I was growing up. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah. You don't cross that line, bro. Yeah, bro. Oh man, dude, this combo was filled with gems. I love the origin story. I loved how you were once my teacher, and now you're teaching other barbers in your shop. And then not only that, like I can see you're very driven when it comes to like your dreams and stuff like that, regardless of whatever happens or whatever. So I really do appreciate you coming out here because I know you're happy. It was a drive for you.
Yeah, a little bit.
It wasn't too bad, right?
Yeah.
I definitely would love to do a part 2, to kind of see an update version of.
Yeah, I'll be happy to come back.
You know what I mean? So
this is good right here, and then just seeing your beginnings to now, bro. It's like it's crazy, and like I respect it.
thank you, man. Thank you.
And it's like you don't realize how many people have potential that don't follow through with it because whatever.
XYZ.
Yeah, whatever it may be, if something gets in the way and they don't follow it. So it's like, even my students, there was a lot of them where I was like, you could see which ones were going to make it. And there was some that I thought were that didn't make it. That the only reason it didn't surprise me was because I've seen it happen. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Right.
I was sad, but it was like, I was like, hopefully they get another shot later.
Right.
So the fact that you're able to go from driving, what was it, like an hour every day?
It was an hour and like 25 minutes.
Yeah, so you're driving like an hour 20 every day to school, and just to like go from there to like here now, and it's like I'm happy and I'm proud of you. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that, bro. It took me almost 10 years, bro. I graduated in 2016 from Paul Mitchell Modesto, and I made some core memories there. I'm never gonna forget that. It made me who I am today. It was hard, bro. I mean, you know how Paul Mitchell was, bro.
Yeah,
it's a hard school to graduate, but I really do appreciate you coming by, bro. And I do agree with you too. Like, you kind of know who's gonna be successful and who's not. Like, now where I'm at, hiring barbers and the ones that stayed and left, I can already tell. And
then like there's some that catch you off guard when they stop, and you're like, what? But it's like, but it's like at the same time, like, it catches you off guard, but you're like, you understand life.
Yeah, life happens, bro.
Yeah.
Life happens. Like I know a few barbers that I went to school with don't cut hair no more because XYZ reason. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but you know, they're still making money. So that's
Yeah. When I was going to school, I remember they would tell me because I was partying, and I remember they would tell me like, "You're never gonna get your license."
don't tell me that. But
Yeah, and I was
like now
like,
you're making me really want to do it now.
"Yeah, yeah." And they started telling me that, bro. And I remember I was like, "Bro, I was like, whatever, I'm gonna cut hair." Like,
Yeah.
and like even I was like, with or without a license, I'm gonna cut hair.
I'm still gonna cut hair.
Yeah,
I
and
want to make it happen, bro.
yeah, and
Regardless.
I was like, dude, I was like, I seen them later, and like I wasn't being petty, you know, but like in my head, I was like,
Why not? Why not?
didn't you say I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna like make?
Uh,
I was like, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy how sometimes people it's a wonderful feeling when you make people eat their words
yeah,
because you know they either doubt you or the you know and regardless of the doubts still fucking do it either way,
yeah,
bro. You know. But yeah, man, this was a good convo. I really loved listening to all this. Like, I got a bunch of value from just listening to your story, and you know, some things that I can use for myself as well. And I'm hoping you got the same.
yeah, no,
You know,
definitely.
and I definitely want to again, like I said before, do a part two. And as far as for whoever is listening, I definitely want to leave this. Especially if you're a barber, if you're listening, I definitely want to leave this. If you're scared, nervous, doubtful, do it anyways.
Yeah,
Do it anyways.
listen to yourself,
Yeah.
follow your heart, just put your faith in God, and just
Amen
lead
to
with a
that.
strong foot.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you guys on the next one.